Here's a question a lot of people have, and I think it kind of relates to our conversation earlier about attachments. This person says, any advice for dealing with scrupulosity? How much can be treated with therapy versus spiritual direction? First of all, just say a word about scrupulosity.
Yeah. So scrupulosity
and maybe how it differs from a tender conscience. Like a tender conscience is one thing, scrupulosity is not good.
100%. So I think scrupulosity is maybe best conceptualized or most commonly thought of as a subtype of OCD, right? So OCD, you have obsessions or intrusive thoughts that keep coming fast and with great intensity that are really distressing. So you have these obsessive, intrusive thoughts. And then you oftentimes have a compulsion, which is a behavior that's aimed at reducing the anxiety caused by the obsession. Scrupulosity is thought of as a subtype of OCD. So the obsessions are just of a religious nature, and your compulsions tend to be religious behaviors.
Oh my goodness, that's so helpful.
Yeah, and so oftentimes the same treatments that work for OCD work pretty well for scrupulosity. The big guy, if you want to look up some academic work on scrupulosity, his last name is Abramovich. Is it John?
Good luck spelling that.
Yeah, I think it's Abramovich. First name J, Jonathan Abramovich, I think. Does a lot of work on scrupulosity academically.
Is he a Christian too? Or
don't know. It's a good question. It's a good question. I would suspect. I mean, they oftentimes say research is me search, and so
now with Google especially.
Yeah. So look. That being said, a lot of the same treatments that work for OCD work for scrupulosity. One of the most common treatments for OCD is what's called exposure with response prevention, which means you expose the person to the thing they're afraid of and you prevent them from doing the compulsive behavior. So what happens is you have this intrusive thought, fight or flight, the alarm bells go off and you say, danger, danger, danger. Engage in this behavior to reduce the danger. What you're basically asking the person to do is expose themselves to the thought or the experience, let the alarm bells go off, and let their brain learn that nothing's going to happen. You don't need to engage in this behavior because nothing's going to happen. And your brain, sort of in a crude way of thinking about it, sort of learns to shut the alarm off. Oh, hey, that thought isn't a problem. Don't feel anxious about it. Don't worry about it. Nothing happens. But what we tend to do is we think this is such a terrible thought. Maybe this was a sin. Maybe this disapproves. Maybe God disapproves of this. Maybe we pray in the rosary, or I didn't genuflect well enough, or I didn't bless myself evenly, or I didn't. I mean, scrupulosity can just be so.
If there are any priests watching, one piece of advice I would give to them, if I can humbly do that, would be if you're dealing with a penitent in the sacrament of confession who struggles with scrupulosity, have them do their penance in front of you. Because often what happens with those who are scrupulous is we fear that we didn't do the penance properly.
100% right.
So if someone just do it now, you're done.
And then be done.
Yeah.
And so so that's essentially, right, exposure with response prevention. You do it once. Now, do not go home and do it again. Do not do it again in the car. Do not do it. Just hold that anxiety. You might feel anxious. You might feel worried. Hold it. Sit with it. Hold it. See what happens. Is God going to smite you? Are you going to come down? Right? Are you going to? Is your heart going to explode? You're okay.
Yeah.
Right. Don't come back to confession for at least 2 weeks too, because sometimes scrupulous people can come back the next day or 2 days later. Well, I feel like maybe. So the question is tender conscience versus scrupulosity. Well, let me make one more caveat about that. That gets tricky for Catholics when exposure with response prevention. When you're talking about potentially sort of graphic sexual intrusive thoughts. You don't necessarily want somebody to be conjuring those up intentionally and exposing themselves to them. So there's different ways of addressing it. I think one way is you can sort of introduce people to beautiful art, show them sort of beautiful art where there's the Sistine Chapel and things like this. If they're worried about, like, I saw private parts, was that a sin or something like that? You can show them beautiful, tasteful art that obviously isn't pornographic and just let them learn to feel comfortable seeing beautiful art. The other thing you could do is sort of take a mindfulness approach here. And I'm not talking about sort of like Eastern, you're doing yoga, let the demons in, right? I'm talking about just learning to pay attention to your thoughts, but not feel like you have to latch on to every thought. I mean, we have so many thoughts all the time, Matt. The problem is, and so many that we dismiss. I mean, the problem with the scrupulous person in some sense is they have a thought, maybe God isn't real. And they go, oh my God, what if he's not? Did I just have doubt? Do I lack faith? Now, the difference is I have that thought. I'm walking down the street. I go, what if God isn't real? And I go, oh, what a silly thought. That's weird. And I just let it go. That thought doesn't particularly have meaning to me. It's not particularly, I don't take it as a true, meaningful, or I don't know, true or meaningful thought. I have thoughts in my head all the time. Bizarre, random thoughts that just come and go.
In sexual ones too.
Yeah, this happens a lot. Yeah, they just come up, right? They don't have to, I don't have to like go, oh my gosh, what does that mean about me? What does that, right, and panic. I can just notice it and just, hey, let's see what the next thought is. The problem is when we either latch onto it, like, this must mean something about me. Oh my gosh, what does it mean? Or we try to push it away forcefully. Both of those approaches, becoming fused to it or trying to push it away,
have the
cause anxiety.
Opposite effect too.
And they can cause distress.
Yeah.
Right? What does it mean about me? Oh no, I might be a bad person. Pushing it away, it's the white polar bear thing. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like don't think of a white polar bear, that kind of thing.
So mindfulness can help with scrupulosity, particularly if it's of a sexual nature, just learning that to recognize that you have thoughts that pop in your head all the time that aren't meaningful and don't matter. And you can just let them pass by. You don't have to latch onto them. You don't have to, you can watch them the way you watch TV on a TV screen.
Yep. Fusing together two pieces of advice I've heard from Chris West and Jason Everett. I would say that the next time you have this, and you tell me what you think as a therapist, of an intrusive sexual thought, one thing you can do is use that as an opportunity for gratitude and intercession. So saying, God, I thank you for the beauty of this person. Maybe it's an image you've seen when you were younger from a pornographic film or something. I thank you for this person. I pray that you would bless them. I wonder where they are right now. How are they doing right now? Where do they live right now? Like, are they well? Bless them, lead them closer to you. So it's like I'm kind of like, pornography in a way does what death does. It separates spirit and soul, and this person becomes this outlet for me. But I can sort of like reinfuse body and soul by just like ask, like, where is this person? How is she doing? How is he doing? And like bless them. And like, I thank you for her beauty. I thank you for his beauty, or something like that. And so I'm acknowledging the good and offering prayer. Would that be an example of facing it and responding well, or no?
Well, so maybe two things on that. I think for the person who's not scrupulous, that works. Okay. That's nice. You're finding the good. You're finding a good in the situation. You're reframing it. What was once sort of an image of objectification and selfishness and self-seeking, lust, you're now saying you're humanizing it, right? I wish this person well. I hope they're doing good. I hope they're sort of reframing it. I think that's fine for somebody who, you might say, your average man in the street, your average woman in the street. The problem with scrupulosity is that for the scrupulous person, that response is going to become their new compulsive behavior.
Oh, interesting.
And so that's what's going to reduce their anxiety. So the thought pops in their head and they go, thank you, God. Thank you. Okay. There's a good one. But it's going to, then what they're going to do, part of sort of scrupulosity can be this dimension where you're constantly monitoring your thoughts to see if you're having the thought you shouldn't be having.
Oh no.
Which, by the way, does what?
Make you mad?
It makes you mad, makes you anxious, but it also makes you more likely to have the thought. Am I having that thought I shouldn't be having? And wait, am I having it now?
Sad.
And
it would be funny if it wasn't so tragic, is what I mean. I mean, that's terrifying.
It's terrifying. And some of these thoughts, I've worked with patients who have violent, intrusive thoughts. And it is so distressing for them. But part of the reason it's distressing is because of this thought. Like, what does it mean if I'm the kind of person that has these thoughts?
Yeah.
And the answer is, it means nothing. It actually means nothing. Because these are just thoughts your brain's throwing up at you, right? Like, these are just every thought you have doesn't have meaning and it doesn't matter. We have to appreciate that.
Okay, say that again, because that also sounds like totally false.
Yeah, every
thought you have doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
What does that mean? Of course it matters.
Matters, or every thought doesn't matter.
Sorry. Not every thought you have matters.
There is no God, there is no meaning. Nihilism is the truth.
That took a dramatic turn. Yeah, halfway through, not every thought you have matters or has meaning.
Right.
Right? I walk down the street. This happens to me occasionally. I walk down the street And I'll just think like, what if I punch that guy in the face? Now, the thought like pops up.
Totally, man.
Right? I just let it,
I remember being a 7-year-old kid altar
Yes.
serving, being like, what if I stood up right now and screamed the F word?
Exactly.
That stuff
right?
happens to me frequently.
All the time, right? But these are random thoughts. And the truth that for, generally speaking, those thoughts come and they go. And I just let it go. And I don't think to myself, what does that mean about the kind of person I am? Am I a sociopath? Oh my gosh. Could I also kill somebody if I could punch somebody? The scrupulous person is going to cause such anxiety because they think this thought must matter. This thought must mean something.
I'll tell you what
me.
doesn't help the scrupulous person.
Yeah.
Telling them their scrupulosity is offensive to God.
Yeah. You know what's really bothering God right now? The way you are. You're like, no, right? Dude. So I would worry that approach, the Weston Everett. So I think it would work for your sort of non-scrupulous person, the person with clinical scrupulosity, right?
Okay. This is why people like me should be really reluctant to just dish out advice we think works across the board,
for sure.
right?
Yeah, for sure, right? I mean, that person is going to make, their new compulsion is going to be this interior prayer, this interior, right? And now they're going to say, okay, did I just have that thought? Did I have it now? I got to do that thing. And they're going to feel like a slave in their head. They're going to feel anxious. They're going to feel. And so for that person, I think allowing them to just learn to let thoughts pass.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment below letting us know what you thought about the video.